In light of the recent reveal of Hydra Agent Bob and also the female Hydra Agent, here are 4 different Hydra Agent figures that's out there right now. The first one is from the Mandroid BAF wave, second is from the 2-pack, and the third one is the Army Builder. And this fourth one is a bootleg. These 3 original figures come with different sets of weapons, so I'm not going to discuss about the weapons, you can check it out from pictures. But what I'm going to share is how to tell which one is from which wave. And the easiest one to spot is the Mandroid wave Hydra Agent. The Mandroid wave Hydra Agent has the nose covered in green, unlike the other 2, and also that it doesn't have the Hydra logo on the shoulder ball on both sides. And one more difference is the serial number. The Mandroid Hydra has it indented instead of printed, unlike the other 2. Here's a closer look, and here's the other 2 which are printed. So that's it actually for the Mandroid wave, and also that the gloves and the boots are brighter than the other 2. You can see the shade of yellow getting darker with the Mandroid wave in bright yellow, and then it gets a bit darker and darker. Now, between the 2-pack and the Army Builder, it's really difficult to differentiate them. Just by looking at an individual picture of the figure, I really don't think you can spot which one is which, unless you look at the weapons that they come with. The shade of yellow, or in this case, more like towards orange, is slightly different. I guess one way you can differentiate the 2-pack from the Army Builder is by looking at the gap at the elbow joint. For the 2-pack, there isn't any gap here, but for the Army Builder, there is a gap at the elbow joint here, and there is an arrow that is indented into it. Here's a look under the light. You can see the arrow right there. Those who have the 2-pack and the Army Builder Hydra, do share with me whether it's the same as mine, having the arrow at the gap for the Army Builder and no gap for the 2-pack. And the other obvious difference is that the serial number is printed bigger on the 2-pack than on the Army Builder. Now for the bootleg, I actually got this second hand from another collector. He was only selling the figure without the accessories, and he declared that it was bootleg. So he was selling it at a cheap price, and I do believe it is a bootleg or KO because there are differences between the original and this one. Looking at the pictures at AliExpress, I think this is supposed to be the bootleg of the 2-pack Hydra because in those listings, I see the weapons of the 2-pack. Now, how do you tell the difference? Quite difficult at a glance, but there are some differences. First off, is at the back actually. The hole at the strap is very obviously wider than the hole that is on the torso. And it also looks like an oval compared to the other 2, which is very circular. Second difference to spot is at the hands. For the bootleg, the back of the hand is actually slightly lighter than the color on the hand itself. The color matches more towards the forearm. For these 2 original figure, the wrist pack is exactly the same color as the hands. A bit difficult to see here, but up close, you can see the difference that the wrist pack here is the same color as the forearm instead of the hands. There is an obvious difference in shade of yellow. Here's the other hand. Third difference is the gap at the elbow. The gap is big and the arrow isn't indented as clearly or neatly like the one on the Army Builder. You can really see the difference in how they indented the arrow. A bit of a mess on the bootleg. And you can see the whole arrow unlike on the original Army Builder where the arrowhead is actually slightly hidden under the bicep. Another thing to note is that the gap at the knee joint is also big for the bootleg and is on both sides of the legs unlike on the Army Builder, which is just one side which is kind of big, but on the other side, it isn't big. For the bootleg, both sides have a big gap at the knee joint area over here. And one last difference is that for the bootleg, there is kind of a big gap above the shoulder ball over here, unlike on the original where the gap is really much smaller. Look at the amount of gap over here above the shoulder ball. Same goes on the other side. For the original, there isn't much gap. And yeah, if you guys noticed just now, from the side view, the bootleg is actually slightly taller than the 3 original figures. So that's it for the differences. For those of you who have the 2-pack in the Army Builder, do share with me if the differences that I've shared is the same as yours. And if any of you happen to have bought the bootleg from AliExpress also, do share if they have the same things that I've spotted on this bootleg that I have. Thanks for watching. Do check out my other videos at my channel.